Gina, this is you, right? I mean, your organization, not you. Maybe it is you. But let's take a look here. So, do I belong here? What do I get? Now what? And if any of you want to answer those questions in the chat with me, you're welcome to. The Ice Theater of New York, celebrating the joy of dancing on ice. So I know that if I'm interested in things in New York, and this video is also telling me a lot, the ice, I'm knowing like it's not the ice theater because it's ice cold. It's the ice theater because they're on ice skates. And if I'm interested in that kind of thing and I'm able to be in New York, then I belong here. But what do I get? I think this is an area before I scroll down. Right now, you're telling me I get to donate. I'm like, well, that's awesome. Not really, because you got me all excited about watching the theater. I'm totally donating is a medium risk action. I'm not ready for a medium risk action, or it could be high. I'm ready for a low risk commitment. So I'd like you to add, what do I get next, right? So what do I have instead here? You're telling me what you do, okay? But the truth is, most of us are pretty self-censored. I don't care what you do. I care what I get. I do see that you hate racism, and I also hate racism. So I know that at least, yeah, I am even a little bit more in the right place. These are, you know, people who who agree with me. We're on the same page, at least about racism. But what do I get related to theater, ice theater in New York? Some upcoming events, right? This might be a great thing for you to lead off with me. So tell me the high level thing that I get, like an amazing theatrical experience like none other. Boom. And then get a little more specific. Well, exactly what do I get? Ooh, I get these kind of events, but don't overwhelm me too fast. What is it? What is that micro commitment you want me to do next? It may or may not be too big of a leap to say, you know, buy a ticket to one of our events, but is there something smaller you could ask me to do as a first step, and then take me down the journey of asking whether or not I can trust you, and that will lead me to buying a ticket. So a little too much information here overall, and kind of pulling my attention in different directions. So I love this. You can add some more words over the video, and tell me that big thing that I get if I were ever to attend any of your events. Experience the joy of watching theater on ice, something like that, right? Experience joy. I want to experience joy. I'm in. Tell me more. And then think about what is the best now what to show me. And then don't show me anything else on the homepage. Just get me to now what, or if I'm learning more, then I'll start going into your menu to learn a little more. We don't have time to go into the inside pages today, but in your menu and in the next pages, you want to be answering the question, is this worth, you already answered, is this worth my attention? You want to be answering, is this worth my trust, right? So I want to know, I want to see examples of your past performances. I want to hear reviews of your past performances. Examples and reviews are going to be prime for you. Let's move on to the next one. And if you would, in chat, keep giving me your gold nuggets. I want to hear your aha moments, so I know that that you're getting what you need from this, and what things I should focus on the next time I do a website review. So Dorina, go ahead and put, and if you had any aha moments or anybody else, put them in the chat for me. So let's look at Hospitality House, Northwest Carolina. So I know that if I'm in Northwest Carolina, I'm not in the wrong place, but I'm not sure if I'm in the right place. What is Hospitality House? So this is your name. So if I'm new though, I'm still not sure what you get. And I'm not ready for my action of getting help or donating, because I'm still not sure what I get, right? What do I get if I donate? What do I get what kind of help do I get? So give me a little more here. And I think you've got some great information here. I think this information needs to be up, right? We don't need to know your name or that you've been helping rebuild lives. Tell me, you can replace this with housing, hunger relief, and crisis assistance for residents of Northwest North Carolina, right? That's what should be here. And then 2 buttons here or here. One that says, get help with one of those things now. And for donate, is there a step before? Maybe it's, learn what just $5 can do at our organization, or get this resource on maybe you did a research paper on, not a boring research, an exciting research paper on how to eliminate the housing crisis, or learn the 10 additional benefits that housing has for our community, right? People who get housing are less likely to be homeless, less likely to be struggling and a strain on the mental health system, less likely to be dealing with substance abuse issues, right? Show me why being committed to a housing support program is going to really make the kind of difference that I'm looking to make in the world. Great. We have a gold nugget, realizing we have way too much going on our home page. Yeah. Pare down your home page. It's for your first time visitors, most of the content. So I do like, so if we got those now what's, those can each lead to their own version of a new home page, right? Now we have the home page for people who are looking for help, and we have the home page for people who want to help, right? And so you're going to repeat the homepage formula all over again. So for people looking for help, break it down, make sure that it's easy. For people wanting to help, this kind of information is really helpful, right? If they start asking the question, is this worth my trust? What you have here are some trust indicators here, right? So they would belong there. These are not trust indicators for people who are looking for housing support, right? These are trust indicators only for potential donors. So put that where it's a page focused for the donors. Again, here, I think this is probably like a poll from Instagram. It's just way too much. It's not answering one of those questions. Here you kind of have a big footer. I would just make this a different color, delineate it, so I know I'm now in the footer, like this isn't the main content, and then you can put all sorts of stuff in here. I love footers because that is where you can kind of like put everything. People now know, you just scroll all the way to the bottom and you can see all the links and get to where you're going if you already trust and even potentially love this organization. All right, let's move on. Love Never Fails, International Empowering Children to Overcome Poverty. Now, notice how I read this, right? So one thing to be aware of, and this is true not just for websites, but it's true for all screens. We tend to read our screens. At least I know this is true in languages that read left to right. I don't know if this has been confirmed for right to left languages, but if you are a left to right, like English or any of the Latin Romance languages, you read left to right, and your eye is going to follow the screen from the upper left-hand corner. I like to think of it a circle like this, and then you're going to kind of hang out around here. Some people describe it, if you look at a heat map of people's eyes, they describe it like an F. You kind of like go up here and you kind of check out the middle, and then you kind of come down. So it leaves this F shape on the screen. So what you put on the left up here is probably what people are going to see first. So that counts. And then what you see on the right, upper right, and kind of in the middle area is where people are going to hang out a bit. So what you put up here does matter. So if you've got words, the readers are going to read them. Others are just going to look at the picture. So give a child an education, healthy food, and the word of God. Empower a child in India to overcome poverty today. So that's really, I think, doing a great job here of, do I belong here? So if I'm religious and interested in supporting children in India, then I belong here. Now what? So I would experiment with this one, right? Am I ready to sponsor a child. I almost think of sponsoring a child as what I get, right? But you might want to have a little more for me. You might want to have, and I would test this because sponsoring a child is, you've phrased it in a way that I get something. I might not be ready at that moment, but I think you're doing a good job here. We have a real problem in India. Okay, so you're now giving me reasons why I would want to sponsor a child. So you might be all right with that call of sponsoring a child. Telling me what you do, great. Excellent. So I think the thing to add, I think you're off to a great start. You're mostly doing a great job. As I go down the page, right? You're just reinforcing what do you get? What do you get? You're getting more specific about what do you get. And here we're beginning on that trust journey. Excellent. You've got your trust symbol. So I think you're doing a great job overall here. So yay, Love Never Fails International. You are off to a good start. One thing I can say, I'm on a very big screen now, is you could potentially give me a visual hint to keep reading here, like a little arrow, or just make your header a little bit smaller. But I think you're doing a great job there. Northern Light Community Center. As I see it, Joe, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Joe Gidgens, NLC board member, whoops, and we've got a slider here. Okay, so here's a great lesson for everybody. Sliders or image carousels on home pages have been proven again and again and again not to be effective. One of two things happen when you have a slider on a home page. Either the person only ever reads the first image on the slider, or they leave altogether because it's information overwhelm. So I would say for Northern Light Community Center, ditch your slider. Pick the most important thing, the one thing that tells me I belong here and gives me a hint at what I get. This isn't it. Let me click through your slider. And then give me a call where I get something, right? I don't want, getting to read more is not much of a get. So make it sound a little more enticing. And tell me about you. So Northern Light Community Center focuses on holistic health for our community. And these words are a little small here. Alumni support. I'm reading through them. All right, I'm going to scroll down because even these are a lot of things for me to read. So ditch the slider. We need a new headline and button. So I'll see if I can give you a quick idea of your new headline here before we run out of time. Our impact. Okay, you've moved on already to, is this worth my trust? And I'm not even sure yet if this is worth my attention. So like once you've really convinced me it's worth my attention at the top, you can move on to trust. So, but these are pretty good trust indicators. It sounds like you are making an impact. You've got some stories. That's good. Now we're on to calendar. Might be too much for the home page. I'd be moving that to a different page. Programs. Here's, getting into the details of someone who's really ready to take action with you. So a lot too much on this homepage. And I would really work on nailing, like, what is it? And you can say something that is both, right, just like the housing organization we just looked at, that both appeals to your clients and your donors, right? Because ultimately your donors want the outcome that your clients also want, right? So maybe your clients, your community center members want to have a safe space to grow socially. Let's just throw it out there. So providing a safe space, and your donors also, I want to be a part of providing that, right? So there's a lot of ways to make that line valuable to both donors and clients. Excellent. Old Baldy. So this one, now I'm not a Civil War buff, nothing against the Civil War. So I'm so far from your target audience, I might not be picking up on all the clues you're sending out. Like, I don't know who or what Old Baldy was, but I'm guessing that your target audience who you're trying to speak to here maybe does. So if that's the case, you might have told me something. I do also like to know that you're the Civil War Roundtable of Philadelphia. So if I'm interested in the Civil War and I'm in the Philadelphia area, then I belong here. This is potentially for me. What I want you to do next is, this is great. I get meetings, but entice me a little more. I'm getting that from Richard. Old Baldy was General Meade's horse. Okay. So clearly, your people are going to maybe know this. So, and it's okay that you don't have a fancy layout. This is kind of an older website style layout, but really layout and design is not so important for nonprofits. It's like icing on the cake if you can have it, but it is so not necessary. If you are in the for-profit world, if you're selling shoes or handbags or anything luxury, design matters because people are aligning. They want you to look good because they're trying to look good or a certain way. But for most nonprofits, we're trying to make a difference in the world and people aren't necessarily aligning with the look of your website, but you do have to have the content. So I would just add in, instead of saying welcome to, give me a few more bold lines, like for Civil War buffs who want to get together and talk about things like X, Y, and Z, you're in the right place. And you could literally say that, I think, for this kind of organization. I would ditch the member profile on the home page. It looks like you might actually be kind of moving right into your blog information. So I'd let that be like read our blog or really have some summaries so that I can get a taste of what it's like to start figuring out if I trust you. If you're national, you need to make that much bolder. And notice even though this was bright red, and bolded, did I read it? No. The following updates are webcasts only, Zoom credentials, right? So if you want to attract that national audience, then make that a point to tell me that it's not just for Philadelphia people. So it'll be like now available to Civil War buffs with members in 8 states, right? Okay, so you can do that. All are welcome. And I imagine that maybe you're a smaller community and you could really build a reputation nationally. Literacy Council of Burke County. I looked at this one earlier and I'm going to share this one anyway, because I think even though, again, like we have kind of a more modern looking website, but we don't have very slick layout or graphic design, but I think they're doing a really good job here. You could, and I remember, did I see this switch? Yeah, their home is not really their home. Their news is their home. So that's good. So I would ditch the what's new because I'm just checking this out. Like it's all new to me. But I think you've got a great 2 headlines here. So I would just make this line even bigger. Interested in learning English online. I love that, right? Do I belong here? If I'm interested in learning English myself, or I'm interested as a donor in other people having the opportunity, then I am in the right place. And now you've given me a little more detail while also addressing some of my potential objections. Day and evening classes offered via Zoom. So I know as long as I can get on Zoom, I can do this. And they're both day and evening. So it's going to fit my schedule. So I think that's a really good job. And now let's see if they've got the now what. So you've given me a lot more. You're answering my objections. I'd like you to give me a now what option to get started right away. So you've kind of buried it here a little, that I have to make a phone call. Now these days, for some people, a phone call is easy. For other people, it presents a bit of a barrier. So I would keep this information down here. We're currently enrolling students. If you're a former student, please call, or a new student, right? So just make that a little easier for me to find. Put it up here, make a button or put it in here, enrollment, call or click this button, right? Maybe you can make a form version that people can reach out to you, so it's not just calling. But yeah, fill out this form. Also, I do have to ask this. You're learning English online and your information is only available in English. So the biggest thing here is if you can offer some alternative language versions on this homepage, I think that would be a huge help. We have so many websites, everybody, and not enough time to cover them all. So we will do this again. And if you're thinking like, oh my God, our website needs so much work and we're going to spend all this time changing it, I have this to say to you. Websites are important, but they're not as important as having a full understanding of how you're going to engage your donors and your clients. So before you go investing a lot of time, money, and energy into revamping your website, I highly encourage you, if you don't already, to build a donor engagement strategy and a client engagement strategy that tells you what parts of that journey does your website fit in? And if you'd like to learn more about that, you can send me a message. I'll put my email in the chat, or you can use the apply for a free consultation call on the PivotGround website, pivotground.com, and click on the apply button. I'd be happy to tell you about how I can help you put together a strategy like that so that when you spend time and energy on your website, you are getting the most back from that.